Renanim, ¿cómo está? And hello, welcome back to another week of Grace Daily, hosted by Grace International Baptist Church here in Chuuk, Micronesia. Believe it or not, maybe it's been long for you, but it's been pretty short for me. Seemingly, this is actually the last week of Philippians for us, and then we will be moving on to some other things. And so, Philippians chapter 4, verses 21 through 23, very short passage for the week. We'll be wrapping it up really with just a few thoughts. And many of the themes that we're going to hit this week will kind of either overlap or kind of look similar, but I think it's important because it sums up a lot of what we've already looked at in Philippians. So let's go ahead and dive in. Philippians chapter 4, verse 21. Salute every saint in Christ Jesus. The brethren which are with me greet you. Greetings and salutations, all of that. A lot of times we just kind of do it out of habit when it is in the beginning of the conversation or when we're coming across somebody. Usually the first words out of our mouths, at least in my context, is, hey, how are you? Or something like that. And I don't not mean it, but I also don't give it deep thought either sometimes. And then usually when we're leaving somebody, it's, okay, see you later, have a good day. And that's our beginning and our ending greeting. Paul is wrapping up a letter to, I don't know if we can say a favorite church. I'm not sure if they were like children and he couldn't have a favorite. Or maybe this was, regardless, we know that this was an extremely special church to the apostle. And Paul is writing to them. He's finishing up last 3 verses. And he says, salute every saint in Christ Jesus. Now this word salute, right, it's not giving us the idea of a military term. But this word salute can actually mean to like wrap up in the arms or to greet of that nature. But it wasn't just a formality. It wasn't a, hey, Paul said hey to you guys. This was a very specific, Paul wants me to embrace you. Paul wants me to pass on his affection and his love to you. And what he says here is to salute every saint in Christ Jesus. So there's a few brief points that I want to bring out, and we will probably hit back on them through the week. The first thing is this idea of salute. This idea of a deep and lasting greeting. And it gives an idea of fellowship. Paul didn't just have an arm's length relationship with the people of that church. And I fear that many times that's what church has become. It's just the organization that we are a part of on Sundays. And maybe we have a passing, we pass them in the store, and we say, oh, hey, that's our fellow church member. And then that's the extent of the relationship. But Paul had a deep love for each member. And so, one, we need to be looking at deepening our fellowship as a church. It is vital. It is important. The church is the lifeline in our society. The church is where God corporately meets with his people. The church is where we gather with our fellow citizens of heaven and we form our little band, our community here on earth. And so to treat it at an arm's length and to just kind of know the people in our church but not have a deep affection for them is a dangerous thing. And so we need to work on developing deep relationships within the church. We also understand here that as he's saying, greet every member, we all know oftentimes churches end up having that one person, right? Kind of the guy that, it's he's the hard one to talk to or whatever. But Paul didn't think about that. Paul said, "Greet every saint in Christ Jesus." And so today, what I want us to really focus on is the fact that Paul had a deep and abiding love for this church. He cared about every single person in this church, and he didn't treat them at arm's length. It wasn't a, "Hey, say everybody I said howdy." It was a, "Give them my deep love, give them my affection." In essence, wrap them in your arms on behalf of me. And my desire, and I know Pastor Mike's desire, for Grace International Baptist Church, and if you're watching this from another church somewhere, I know that this is God's desire for all of his churches, is that we foster a love and a community within our church that would cause us not to just know the people that kind of attend with us, but that they would become our brothers and our sisters and our mothers and our fathers, and that we would come and salute one another, embrace one another, love one another with a deep and abiding affection, because we are all citizens of heaven. And so I salute you. We love you. We are so glad you're part of our church, and I'm grateful that you're joining us today. Go out and salute the brethren in Christ Jesus. Grace and peace, my friends.